All good. Well, Armando, thank you so much for joining. You've been a client with us for a while now, actually, so we can kind of dive into a lot of different things. It's been around almost a year. We're coming up on a year soon.
No, this is my second round, so it's almost 2 years actually.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well, the
found
mo the mo
I figured that I come from software development, so I figured that somebody must have taken in the time to do what you did, but nothing seemed very effective. And I had tried some go high level platforms before for this, but there's
Mhm.
more to it. Is the ad management and the experience in doing the A/B testing done for you that Relip does, and
Sure.
we gave it a try and it worked from the beginning. So I've been around since.
Yeah. Well, for everyone watching, why don't you kind of just give us like an intro on you, your company, talk about the business, so people know what you do. And maybe talk about some of the challenges, before Relip, before Relip days.
Oh, well, okay. So my name is Armando Tejeda, and I run a company called Eterra Consulting. And I founded the company as a way to help new investors enter the real estate market utilizing the new product from Nokia. I'm a relatively new, I am a licensed loan officer for the residential side as well. And because I speak several languages, I've come across business owners that wanted to invest in real estate. And in an increasing rate environment and an increasing type policy agency environment, this seems out of the reach of people that hadn't done it before or that had crazy amounts of cash. And so I realized, as somebody who needed to learn about real estate investing myself, as I learned, I saw an opportunity to teach and bring people into the market. So once I knew what I was doing, I started doing a decent amount of deals for DSCR, particularly, or bank statement or P&L deals. And I just couldn't, I exhausted my leads and I needed a way to go and get leads specifically for that product outside of residential agency product. And I tried doing Facebook advertising myself, as you are probably very familiar. It's very difficult to get your ads through, and it's a full-time job. Honestly, preparing and running effective campaigns in and of itself is a full-time job. So I found myself not being able to properly originate because I was working on the tech side of things so much. And then, enter Relip. I was like, hey, what the heck? This guy looks good. I give you a call. I asked you a bunch of technical questions, and I was like, oh, wow, that sounds great. And you guys delivered from week two. I mean, the appointments came
So when you started, so you were up until that point, you had been doing some Facebook ads on your own.
I
What were
attended
attempted to what was your primary source of funding business before that?
residential. And
Residential.
I did the SCRs
Hmm.
through the residential side of things. And when I
Hmm.
established my LLC, I established some relationships with the banks that I met through my brokerage at the time.
Hmm.
And I mean, just like I called you, I called a bunch of people, right? So I had some outlets and I was able to do some business,
Hmm.
but I wasn't able to target that business. It was new. People, I think it's still new. I think there's a lot of investors out there still going to the local bank, taking terrible deals or getting denied or losing out on contracts because the process takes 6 months, right? And that's happening now. Most of my leads are rescues from that type of situation. They either have no idea how to do it or they've tried
Right.
it the traditional way and realize that the time loss cost of investing with traditional investment products is prohibitive to particularly the purchase market, right? And so through the non-QM, DSCR, or alternate doc business, I've been able to make plans for people to enter into a fix and flip and exit into a DSCR without affecting their other running businesses, or to rescue a chain investor from portfolio loans that are onerous and prohibitive and divesting them into individual DSCRs so that they can also have the option to retail the homes or the buildings individually as a way of divesting in the future if they need to, as opposed to begging their lender for permission. Hey, sir, may I please sell
Sure.
this one unit of the portfolio, right? And so there's a lot of different ways in which I've learned to leverage the knowledge that I've acquired over the years and with the help of Relip to have something for everybody. And
Sure.
I have existing relationships with some DSCR banks. So some of them are more prohibitive than what Relip
Sure.
can offer, right? And you guys have been doing this for a while, and you know it very well. And really, if it makes sense, you'll do the deal, and that's needed in this industry.
Did you find it difficult to transition from the resi side to the more non-QM investment side?
You know, it's the only world I've ever known in which I'm doing both all the time.
Yeah,
So I don't know that there was necessarily a transition. I mean, lending is lending is lending.
sure,
It's if the product fits.
sure.
So I guess the short answer is no. I find it difficult the other way around. When
Mhm.
I run into nonsense underwriting in on the residential side, I just the thought passes through my head very often. It's like, one day, I'm one really bad day away from just not doing agency product because for the amount of effort that I have to put in sometimes in some of these deals, I could just turn that effort into marketing acquisition and taking care of my business clients. But
Sure.
there is there's a more value to helping people purchase homes, and I do feel very strongly about that. So, usually I have a coffee, take a walk, and I get back right at it with that difficult
Right,
behavior.
right. Very, very different deal flow process for sure. They're very different client too.
Yes,
So you started evaluating Relip.
I did.
What were you looking at any other options at the time?
I was. I have very successfully deployed Go High Level and Salesforce marketing platforms
Mhm.
for lead acquisition in other verticals. I mean,
So,
I've got 2 decades of this stuff under me, and
so what ultimately led you to decide to sign up with Relip other than one of the other
well,
options?
I mean, you were a big part of it, right? I think that companies without a visionary in them tend to be less valuable to partner with, right? Once a business loses its soul, don't ever leave, Jordan. So once a business loses its soul, you can see it in the product, right? But sometimes, unfortunately, volume
Sure.
kills quality. But I was always able to get you on the email or on the phone. You were always able to advise me when I had a question. If I told you that I had too much or I had too little, you took it seriously. It's almost been a little bit like a coaching situation that you have going on. So I don't the peace of mind that your company has provided me on the non-business occupied,
Hmm.
non-owner occupied business purpose loan is that I know I can always pick up the phone and ramp it up or down. And so it's an asset to my company and it's an asset to my overall business overview that I know that if I need to increase commercial and non-owner occupied volume, I can just send an email and say, hey guys, how do I do this? I need more of these, or I want to target this area, and that's all it takes to get it done. You'll tell me what needs to be done, I'll approve it, and then it just happens. And that's a beautiful thing. I didn't have to build that for myself. And
Sure.
that's the
Yeah,
value.
I mean, if it's funny, like if we could just get all our clients to 5x their spend, then we would literally just 5x the results. But people are afraid to scale sometimes.
Well, I mean,
But
I'm a small shop, so
sure,
on the non-owner occupied side of things. I do take it very personal. I do speak to
sure,
every single client more than once.
sure,
There's a big education factor to what we're doing right now because the product is new and you do a very good job of bringing first time investors to the table, which in my opinion are the best types of investors because they have no bad habits, right?
sure,
And there's a time investment in which you have to genuinely be empathetic with the person, and sometimes it's the largest investments they've ever made. So it's, hey, this is how it's going to work. This is the realistic outlook. This is what you can expect. And so I'm not entirely sure that I could triple my spend. I think I get buried in
sure.
Zoom meetings, right? So, which is to speak to the efficacy of your product that you could drown in good leads. But if you have a large organization and you have
Sure.
the ability to provide enough attention to your clients, I mean, I see no reason why somebody couldn't 5x their spend. I mean, it yields proportional results, right? So
Exactly, exactly. It gives you control. It gives you, your hand is on the lever, which is cool.
I think I've slowed down the platform with you once or twice because you've had a couple of really good months, and I was like, hey man, I can't do 5 calls a day. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It definitely happens. It definitely happens. That's great. So I mean, how would you, how have things changed now that you've been with Relevant? You've been with us a while. what in your business has changed, and if you can quantify it for us in any way, that would be helpful too.
All right. So, I mean, I'll give you an overview. As just if I was only a business purpose broker, right? It's a very profitable running business now. I'm not one to put on a recording how much money I'm making, but it's plenty.
Sure.
Um, and I'm happy with the effort to result that balance that I have, right? The amount of time that I put in, the amount of effort that I have is certainly a great opportunity to cash in what I've learned and the experience that I have at a very high rate of return while helping clients. Clients love me. They're excited, right? As a residential loan officer, which is probably where the value of Relip comes in more, by partnering with Relip, establishing your company, you inherit relationships by lieu of having you guys as an outlet. That just, it's more than doubled my revenue overall. So if I were to look at, the entire thing, it's more than double my gross revenue. And I can't say enough good things. It's just running in the background, and it goes into Calendly, and it goes into Zoom, and the meetings happen and loans happen. It's great.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Finally, for the brokers and loan officers sitting on the sidelines, thinking about if they should sign up, or for the people who just signed up, what advice could you give to those loan officers?
I would say this. What are you doing right now as far as cost to value that is a better return than starting an entire second pipeline of easier to close, just as profitable loans? It has nothing to do with your current deal flow on the agency side. What would you do to add an entire new set of products that are just as profitable as what you've got going on right now, but underwrite easier and faster? So I would say that the cost per acquisition of the agency loan is higher than the cost per acquisition of a non-QM loan via online marketing on Relip. So there's really nothing to lose. If you're worried about spending a little bit of money to make money as an
and the commissions are better too.
That's what I'm saying. It's profitable. It's very, very profitable.
Sure.
But if you're worried about spending the money that Relip costs with effective ad spend because you don't feel that it's something that your current operation can withstand, then you definitely should get Relip, because then you won't have to worry. It certainly pays for itself. Pick up the phone, do the call, sell the loan. These people want to speak to you. They're going to ask you questions. You're going to have to sift through some people that are not ready now or may not ever be ready, like any lead that there is. So those are few and far in between, but they want to speak with you. It's a different type of relationship, right? As opposed to some of the residential ads where you're soliciting homes, right? This is not that. People want to have a meeting with you and they want advice. I would say use the resources Relip has available to learn about the product. Reach out to Jordan if you have any questions. Once you know the product, it sells and underwrites more easily than any agency product. And so, do 2 extra loans a month.
I love it. Simple as that. Armando, I appreciate the feedback, and we're super stoked to hear about the advice. Thank you for taking the time today. Short but sweet, but definitely to the point and valuable for a lot of people who hear it. If you're an investor watching this, definitely check out Eterra. They can help you with your financing. Armando is extremely knowledgeable, as you guys can tell just from listening to him. Thank you for your time, man.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Jordan. I'll speak to you soon.